Okay, so recently I've started stepping into the Wall of Peaceful Coexistence, or the Walls arc, and as such it is time to talk about the cage. Given that I've moved past it, as I've always done, I'm making a video on the arc. And let me just say, the cage is very much the worst arc of Tower of God, in my opinion, so far. Obviously, I'm very early into the Walls. I think I'm only like 3 chapters in. But as things stand, I don't see anything getting below the cage for me personally. But why is that? Well, there's a whole lot of things. So let's compare the start of Season 2 to the start of Season 3. Because the cage is effectively the introductory arc to Season 3, much like the Return of the Prince and the arcs that follow it. The mini arcs that follow it, the titled arcs. The cage just does not come even remotely close to the level of writing, interesting characters, like just cool factor that Return of the Prince had. And I know comparing arcs that are so far apart in the story isn't exactly fair, but they serve a very similar purpose, which is why I'm going to compare them like this. It's not the main reason I don't like the cage, it's just something I want to comment on briefly. We'll get into the real reasons I don't like it in a bit. But given it serves a similar purpose to Return of the Prince, and that whole section, it just doesn't hold up as a beginning of a new season. It just doesn't have the same impact that Return of the Prince had, or just the way I feel a beginning of a new season should have. Obviously, the arcs are incredibly different, hence why comparing them isn't exactly fair, other than they're in a similar position, because the start of Season 2 is a complete different beast to the start of Season 3 in terms of both a narrative perspective from the end of Season 1 into start of Season 2 to the end of Season 2 to the start of Season 3. But I just wanted to touch on that it's not how I feel the season should have started, but obviously I probably could do better. I'm not a writer, but it just didn't feel right for me with how the arc started. It was very much the, oh look, bam, cool, but hey, I will give the cage some credit, and we'll get into that as we go. So, the cage. Let's talk about how it begins. So, we start Season 2 with Balm rescuing Season 3, with Balm rescuing a character called Deng Deng from this place, and we are introduced to canine people, who were never really set up before, other than with Baragav the Mad Dog, who is called one of Yama's mad dogs. We knew about Yama and we knew what a mad dog was, but we didn't know what canine people were. So this arc immediately introduces an entirely new, subsect of people that are the canine people that had never been set up before, which is why it feels a little bit kind of weird just to jump in and go, you need to care about these people and what's going on with them, because they are now the focus of the season, because I'm expecting that the canine people are going to be relevant for at least a good amount of Season 3. Which is why it feels weird, because, well, they weren't even set up. I don't really know why I should care about them other than what you're telling me now. I didn't even know they existed, really, until, now either. And also, there's such an extreme variety in canine people as well. Not that that's a problem. I mean, it's perfectly fine. You have the ones that are just dogs. Then the ones that are well, I say dogs. Dogs that stand on 2 feet and have human everything else except their head. Then you have the ones that are, somewhere in between human and dog. And then you have the ones that are just people with dog ears. But hey, sure, we just roll with it. And yeah, so we have this little beginning piece where Balm saves Deng Deng and promises to save him and keep his freedom. And then we see Balm moving in to go to the cage, because he wants to get Lord Yama to help him fight Jihad, basically, because he wants to save Jinseng Ha. At least that's how I believe it happened. That's how I remember it being. It has been quite a while since I read the beginning of Season 3. To an extent. But anyway. And so, we get into the cage. And we're in, a little bit of stuff happens. We bring Deng Deng. There's a bit of conflict with Louis, a different character, who we also meet very early into Season 3. It's actually the first... That's way before we even meet Deng Deng. We meet Louis, and he wants to save Deng Deng. Bam goes and saves Deng Deng. Anyway. Well, Bam wanted to save Deng Deng anyway, but yeah. So, where was I? Oh, yes. So we go to the cage, and it's from here that things have like a nice high point when we first meet Yama, and he's really imposing, really threatening. And then from here, I feel like things just go down for the most part. I don't really think it has a high point as good as when we're first introduced to Yama. He's this big, imposing, powerful character, and Bam has to kind of, challenge him effectively. And then we learn about the Bone Tooth Festival, and that whole series of events is like shit in my opinion, because Yama, this character, was supposed to be fearful of, it goes to sleep and is irrelevant for a good portion of the arc. Nice. But I mean, it's the whole reason the coup can happen. Yeah, sure. It kind of has to happen, otherwise the coup doesn't work. And then there's the coup itself. We'll get on to the biggest problem with the arc in a little bit. The coup is led by Baylord Paul, so that they can go revive Doom. But Paul is, he kind of gets shafted in this arc, because he's introduced, and we're like, oh shit, Yama's brother? Whoa. And then he kills Kun. It's another fake out death for Kun. Great. Brilliant. Anyway, and so, Paul's there, and then he kind of just vanishes into the sideline very quickly, and it's like, well, why is he here? I know he instigated all this, but what's he doing other than sitting on this weird fucking green blobby thing? Like, bruh? Yeah, he fights some people, but that's about it. He doesn't really do a lot. And then we obviously transition to Doom when he gets revived through Deng Deng's heart. But we'll talk... That's a very huge problem with this arc, is Deng Deng, and how that whole subplot is handled. And Doom... Doom's an interesting character, I guess. It's cool, the lore we get on the Canine people, how have all been given power by Doom, which is what turned them into Canine people, because Doom can share his power. Yada, yada, yada. And that Doom also has the power to control all of them, if he really so feels like it, because he's given them his power. And this is the whole conflict of, oh no, we can't let Doom be revived, he'll take over the Canine people, he'll do bad things, such and such. But in reality, that's not the case. It's actually Doom's being manipulated by Thug. F-U-G. Well, I say that by Calhelm specifically to protect the Wall of Peaceful Coexistence, because they put a spell on his heart, which Bam immediately breaks because he's Bam, and he's an irregular and he can do that kind of thing, I guess. And he's just resistant to spells, which means that he can remove spells from other people. Sure. I guess we can just accept that and move on. What else? What else about the cage? It just, I don't know, the writing just didn't feel great. Something felt really off the entire time the arc was going on. But let's talk about the main problematic plotline within the cage. And that is the Gado, Louis, Deng Deng shit show that has an alright ending. It has a good conclusion, especially for Bam's character. But everything else is, yikes. Very yikes indeed. So, Gado. He's a character that we're introduced to. He just wants his son, his real son, who isn't, special. He's just a fucking generic motherfucker who's like not even a full canine person. He just wants his son back. He just wants to be able to, tell everyone that Louis is his real son, because it's not Deng Deng that's his son. No, it's Louis that's his son, which is a big plot twist we're revealed to about halfway at some point through the cage, and that Deng Deng is actually some other kid who, in fact, has Doom's heart, and Deng Deng's real heart is in Louis, because Louis was going to die, and they put Deng Deng's heart in him, and then they put Doom's heart in Deng Deng after they put the spell on it. Yeah. Also, that when it comes to Deng Deng being in the cage, they can take the heart out of him and put it back in Doom to bring Doom back and then it'll all be Gucci, but Deng Deng will die. Very sad. And also, Louis gets to live because he's Gado's son, and Gado wants his son alive, which is entirely fair. I mean, it makes sense. He's a dad, he wants his kid to be alive. But as the writing's fucking... It tries to be a big plot twist, but I feel like it just doesn't have the weight. It doesn't carry a lot. It's not foreshadowed very well, in my opinion. So, it feels kind of ass-pully. And then we have probably the highlight of the arc, and that is the conclusion to this terrible subplot with Deng Deng outright dying. Even though it is stated that Canine people can live without their hearts, Deng Deng dies. At least for a little bit without their hearts. But Deng Deng, he dies. That's all she wrote. Balm failed to save someone. And it's entirely for lack of trying. Because Balm realizes that he didn't really want to save Deng Deng. Because he was just using Deng Deng for his own means. And saving him was a good pretense for that purpose. Because Balm is a selfish person. Aren't we all? He will protect the people he truly, deeply cares about. And, well, he cares about Jin Sung Ha. And he needs Deng Deng as a part of saving Jin Sung Ha. So while he might want to save Deng Deng somewhere, it's not how he really feels. It's not what he's really after. He doesn't care about saving Deng Deng enough. And he doesn't try to. And so, Deng Deng dies. And we get this nice moment between Louis and Balm of, you know, Balm saying he'll remember what Louis says, which is, next time you reach your hand out to someone, make sure you save them. Don't do what you did with Deng Deng. This is me paraphrasing and adding stuff on. Don't offer to save them and then not do it. And it's a really good moment. It's a really good sequence of events for Balm's character, and I really like it. And it adds more of a contrast between Balm and Wagner, which I kind of want to talk about as them being kind of protagonists. But hey, maybe that'll be a different video. I don't know when that'll come out. It might not even come out. Tell me if you want to see that. If you've watched this far, tell me if you want to see that. But yeah, that's really my thoughts on The Cage. It just... I know I basically just ran through the plot, but I don't know, it just didn't feel good. The fights... they were alright, but they didn't have as much weight as some of the ones in Season 2 did. I mean, Balm getting the Red Thrisser is cool, and then him empowering it with the Thorn, that's neat. And then his fight with Gado. And there's the Yama versus Kelhelm, where he fully transforms, and that's cool. And then he immediately gets warped off to a different place. We also get to see Kelhelm, he's got this Ancient, and so we already knew that Evan Kell had one. God, why do they have to have such fucking similar names? But, the arc, it just... something didn't feel right. Not that the arc was completely atrocious and unreadably bad, but it just wasn't as good as everything I've read up till this point. And that's bound to happen. There are going to be low points in the story, but this one feels like a pretty hefty low point compared to some of the other low points, like I'd say with the Hidden Floor, that I'd consider a low point, at least for a majority of it. Much like with The Cage, a majority of it is a low point, and I'd say lower than the Hidden Floor, in my opinion. If you like The Cage, tell me why. I'd be more than happy to, you know, discuss things with you. But yeah, that's all I've really got to say. It's mostly feeling. I don't really have a lot of valid reasons to why I don't like The Cage. But yeah, I didn't really like it. But that's probably not just me. Honestly, I've heard a lot of people don't like The Cage. But yeah, with all that said, I've been Animosity. You've been you. And I hope to see you next time for another video. Ta-ta. Brilliant. Nice scuffing it at the end. Ta-ta for now.